Right, United quickly recovered from that 2-0 defeat at Newcastle earlier in the month, quickly stringing together back-to-back home wins, and importantly, home wins to nil to consolidate our Premier League top four bid. Now, we turn our attention to the Europa League in pursuit of our first Europa League title since 2017 this Thursday when we welcome Europa League serial winners Sevilla. Now, these are the record 6-time holders of the Europa League. It's theirs. They basically own it. That music, they actually know it. Like every other club, we all know the Champions League music. And that's what's the Europa? Yeah, you know it. Or they know it at least. I don't know it. They deserve the benefit of the doubt in Europa because they're experiencing their worst La Liga campaign of the 21st century. They got a new manager, and that is Jose Luis Mendilibar. And he marked his touchline debut with an all-important 2-0 win. Also fellow relegation candidates Cadiz, but he did also oversee a 2-2 home draw against Celta Vigo last weekend. United are yet to win against Sevilla in European competition. We drawn one and lost one in our Champions League last 16 in 2018, and also we lost the Europa League semi-final in 2020 against them. Sevilla are currently winless in 11 away games in Europe. That's 5 draws, 6 defeats, losing each of their last 3 in a row, and they haven't lost 4 games in a row in European competition since February 2016. It's a nightmare trying to figure out how teams are going to play under a new manager. But with the limited data that we've got, it looks like under Mendilibar, it's a very conventional 4-2-3-1. Now, Mendilibar was inspired by Bielsa. So you think, I got it, I know what he's going to play like. But he's not really the same as Bielsa. When he was at Eibar, we saw a lot of his philosophy, and that system was completely different from the system of some of the other coaches that have also sort of learned from Bielsa. Those coaches tend to favour a lot more possession-based football because his teams tend to attack a lot more directly after winning the ball back. They recover the ball back high, they press intensely, and that's a mark of all the Bielsa-inspired teams, obviously. But when they recover the ball back, they just get it forward with pace. They go vertical, they go long, and they just try and get it in the mixer. It's proper 1980s English football style, really. And that's very different from the Sevilla that we saw under Lopetegui, and it doesn't really suit their personnel very well. Now, obviously, he's only been in charge for 2 games. So the sample size isn't big enough to really identify the exact style that he's going to be playing. But I don't expect he'll be as vertical as what we've seen him play when he was in charge of Eibar, but I think it will be more vertical than what we're used to with Sevilla. He obviously likes his teams to be aggressive and press high. He also likes them to be a lot more purposeful in possession, which has been one of Sevilla's biggest issues. They've got their 8th worst goal-scoring record in La Liga, and that's going to be a problem for them. This is what we reckon is going to be the starting 11, and the star man for him, I reckon, is going to be Yusuf El Nesri. Now, El Nesri is a striker that is at his best in the 18-yard box. He's got good instinct. He finishes well. He's got a real good vertical leap on him. He's got good heading technique. He is dangerous in the air. He has a big physical presence, a willing runner. He is powerful when he gets going, and he's a good focal point, good technicality, and he holds the ball up really well. Not as easy picking United, I'm going to be honest. Casemiro and Sabitzer, they're the first 2 names that are going on my team sheet because I want us to try and hold the ball. If we end up in a game where it's just going bosh, 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 a little bit like Everton did, I think we could come undone. And I know you're like, we absolutely battered Everton. What you're talking about, it's a different game, right? So I want to control the game a lot more. And we've been pretty good at that at home. And I think with Casemiro and Sabitzer, we're going to do that. This lot are going to press a lot better than what we saw Everton do. So it's going to be reliant on us playing out a lot better than we have done recently. But with Casemiro in there and Sabitzer alongside him, I've got no qualms about that. Back 4, I'm going to go Wan-Bissaka, Malacia, because I don't know the status of Luke Shaw, Varane alongside Martinez, De Gea in net, Sabitzer and Casemiro with Bruno. And I want the psychological switch in Bruno where he's now become a guy that sort of holds onto the ball, makes 70, 80, 90, 100 passes with high pass completion rate, as well as still being someone that's creating the chances that he does, is excellent. And I'd love to see him alongside Sabitzer and Casemiro, and we've still got Eriksen to come back. That's very exciting. On the wings and up front, what do we go for? We go for Tony Martial because he's come off the bench a couple of times now and he looks solid. I think it's time to give him a start. We go with Anthony on the right-hand side and Sancho on the left-hand side because I think that's the only options that we have got with Marcus potentially being injured. Pellistri could have been a shout, but I think that's the 11 that we're going to go for. Match winner for United, it's got to be Casemiro. It just has to be Casemiro, right? He returns against opposition that he is familiar with. We control the games far better when he is in the team. He gives us that added element from set pieces in both boxes. You're going to need his defensive instincts against European side that are very centric in the way they play, Sevilla being one of them. He can mark Suso out of the game, which is a big thing that we're going to need. How do we beat them? Score first, not the stuffing out of them. If we start fast, I don't think they'll be able to cope with the pace and intensity. And that's a common factor with Spanish teams. They can get shell-shocked a little bit. They've been struggling offensively all season, but they have been better defensively. So if you give them that one goal, all they're going to do is protect that and try and take that back to Spain. So you can't allow that to happen. You've got to score first. Scoring first when a team's low on confidence like that as well means that you can pile it on them. If they get that goal, that might galvanise them. So the first goal is very, very, very important. They've only won one of their last 30 matches outside of the Copa del Rey away from home. So they're not going to come to Old Trafford thinking they can put it on us. You've got to be central solid. So Suso, Gil, Lamela all operate in the central areas. You don't want to get overloaded in there because they can really play football. Rakitic is up there in age, but obviously has still got Rakitic levels of ability, so you can't mess with that. Casemiro being in the mix will be a massive help. And then play with pace. No Marcus Rashford is a problem because he is the paciest player that we could put out there. Transitional football and quick play is going to be total kryptonite for them as well. So when we get the ball, I want to move it quick. I know you're going, Steve, hang on. I thought you said you didn't want to turn it into a basketball game. I don't, because I want to have more control. But that still doesn't mean that you take your time when you get on the ball. Put the tie to bed nice and early. Take the pressure off in the second leg. Get it in the mixer and see what we can do. And hopefully Tony Martial can start and keep on this little goal-scoring run that he's on of one game. So it'd be nice to see Anthony score. Can Sancho build on the performance that he had at weekend as well? It's a winnable game. Take it to Spain and book our place in a semi-final. That's what it needs to be all about. And it's just another game for us to manage, innit? Let me know your score predictions in the comments. And importantly, how do you line up? How do you replace Marcus Rashford in this team? Let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.